Hey, what's going on? This is Mario again, back with Coffee with Jesus. I'm your host, and just wanted to come back because after the last video that I released, um, I got an email from somebody, and it was a great email. It was encouragement, but what they said to me was something that was very interesting, and I wanted to bring it back and share it with you. They said, "Well, Mario, man, I never would have known you were depressed. When were you depressed, and I didn't know about it?" And it's funny because that brings me to the space of talking about this right now. What are you talking about? When you're around people and they miss it for a couple of reasons. One, you do clever covering and masking. You're clever with it. We learn to be clever with our covering and masking where we really are, particularly in spiritual environments where we are required to be leaders. You do it as parents, you moms and dads out there. You masterfully cover where you really are because you've been taught you got to be strong for your kids. And that's absolutely correct. I'm not knocking that. But there's a masterful covering and masquerading of where a person really is. So therefore, you miss it for that reason. Number two, people around you see you as a leader. They never believe that you need to talk. See, these are the people that call you on a daily basis, but never ask you or discern that, ask you first of all, how you doing? I'm not talking about that general, hey, how you doing? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, how are you doing? That's the one I'm talking about. How are you really doing? How are you coming along? I have one friend that I talk to periodically, not very often at all. She lives in a well, anyway, but she'll call me every 3 or 4 months and just be like, Brown, how are you? How are you, Brown? How are you? Not how you doing, but how are you doing? And I hear from her every 3 or 4 months, and we can go into an in-depth conversation. And because we don't talk every day, it's a long conversation, but it's one that is very in-depth. And I appreciate that so very much. But here's the thing, is that we have people that we talk to on a daily basis that some of them are intuitive enough to say, what's going on? Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And you got to be open enough at that point in time to recognize that God is providing you an outlet, because this is the person who's not going to judge you, that you can go ahead and say it how you feel it, and it's not going to have any blowback. You need those people around you. I remember one time one of my leaders said to me, he said, Mario, you can never let them see you sweat. Son, listen to me. You can never let them see you sweat. You always hold it together. You stand up confidently, and you never let them see you sweat. And at that particular time, I received that. I said, okay, that's right, Pastor, that's good. Only to find out that that was the very thing that destroyed his ministry. That very line of thinking, that very discourse was the very thing that literally destroyed his ministry, because he did not feel he could ever let anybody see him sweat. He could never be vulnerable to anybody. He could never be vulnerable to anybody because he was suffering with internal stuff that was going on that had he had an outlet, maybe he could have avoided losing his ministry. Now, there are times when people just miss it. They don't know, because again, we cleverly cover it and masquerade like we're stronger than ever, because people can be very cruel to leaders who are weak, who have a moment of weakness. I'm not talking about willful sin. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying carrying the burden of y'all junk. See, that's the piece that I ain't said yet. Is a lot of it is because we're carrying the foolishness and the junk of people who really could be doing better, but you dump on your leaders. You drop everything on them without ever stopping to say, is there anything I can do for you? That's the truth. You see, because a leader who cares, he cares more for you than just your money, your tithing and your offering. It's much deeper than that. It's about your welfare, your total welfare. And so when there's something wrong with you, that leader picks it up and carries it. See, I know people who are in the secular world who carry even their employees that way to their detriment, because they're concerned with more than your productivity on the job, but they're concerned with your family and what concerns you. And they begin to carry the weight of that. And then when depression comes, it seems like they cannot differentiate theirs from yours. So they really don't know where it's coming from. They just sense a heaviness. And so we have to be very clear that you've got to put people around you that you feel the liberty, the freedom to be able to say to them, I'm at a bad place today. This is how I'm feeling. This is why I feel this way. Or I don't know how to put it into words. And let me tell you something, you religious folk, the last thing the believer needs to hear is a scripture. Well, preacher, I don't know. You tell me, I thought everything was in the word. There is life in the word, and it has its place. But you got to believe that somebody that's already in God has the word of the Lord. But what they need now is a real-time solution to what they're going through. They need to be able to know it. So I know that there's sometimes, because I've learned how to mask what I'm going through for the sake of those who I lead, those who need me. And by the grace of God, I've learned how to now put together a team of people that I can talk to and get that off me so that I can continue to be effective to the people I lead, and I can be fully vested in them. I don't have to be giving them fragmented stuff. That's the only way I've been able to manage it, because things change. You go through seasons in your life where you are absolutely unable to decide what you're to be doing next. It seems like God is not talking to you. It seems like don't nobody have an answer. No matter what message you hear, you can hear 1,000 sermons and nothing ministers to you because there's a longing and an aching inside. Once again, it may not be debilitating, but it's going to eventually become that way to you if you don't find somebody that got sense enough to talk to you in terms of where you are right now. You see? Because I don't need no warfare prayer. I know people saying, well, depression is of the devil. Well, listen, you don't say that when you're going through it. It's not always the devil. It's not always the devil. It's our humanity. And what I've learned about God is he doesn't have a problem with our humanity as long as we don't have a problem with his divinity. And we've got to get that in our spirit, is that sometimes there is no right now solution. You have to go through the process of digging in, finding out where is this coming from. As minute as it may appear to be, it's coming from somewhere and you need help. And you don't have the option of walking away and abandoning it, and abandoning your position, your family, your job. You can't. You got to stay there. So you got to figure out, who do I have around me who's mature enough to hear where I am, pray with me, sure, but just let me talk it out. Just let me talk it out. Because one of the things I use in my counseling is I just ask questions. Where are you? What would you like to see happen? What's really nagging you right now? And those are the things that I'm learning that can help us before it moves into real mental illness. Because that is what's happened with all these preachers that are falling, that are going through stuff, tearing up their families, because everybody expects them to be so perfect but it's a part of their fault because they will not assemble a team. And let me say this, you can't get people who are in the same mess you in to be your counselors. They cannot be the person you talk to about your stuff when they're doing the same thing. You got to find somebody that ain't dealing with your stuff, because all y'all gonna do is co-sign each other's behavior. I'm talking about folk that are not sinning, but are depressed because they're trying to figure out the next place. Some people say, well, if they had somebody to talk to, they wouldn't fall in sin. Well, listen, folk gonna sin and do what they want to do, period, until they have a made up mind not to do that stuff that is sinning against God. All right? That's not even what I'm on today. I'm talking about carrying the burden of what am I supposed to be doing in this next phase of my life? What am I supposed to be doing for the next piece to fulfill me? I'm 50. I'm 60. What's next? Okay, somebody may be saying, I don't have a relationship. I've never been married. I don't have children. What am I supposed to do? And they're going deeper and deeper into a dark place, and they have nobody to discuss this with. So this is why it's so important. God, please send us who we need to talk to, so that we would stay out the dark, so that we can stay out the dark and stop missing it. Stop missing it. That's what we got to stop doing. So I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this video. Let's continue to talk. email me cwj.mario@gmail.com, or leave something in the comment section. Share the video, because I know more of you out there are dealing with this. And I hope that my transparency has helped you, because we need help. We really need help in this area. And so I want to converse with you more about this. So just hit me up and let's talk about it. If you have a subject that you want me to cover, let me know, because we can talk about it. Thank you much. Thank you so much again. Until we meet again next time. Take care.